What do you do when she chooses somebody else? Well, this has been a particular part of my life. You know, I was talking to this girl who I used to have sort of a relationship with, sort of affair with, right? No strings attached kind of deal. And she ended up catching feelings for me. And it's a weird dynamic. When you don't want a girl or when you don't like a girl, she likes you back. She wants you. And it's the same. It's the same for men. If we want a girl and we like a girl, oftentimes she doesn't like us back. It's just this weird, simple, little crazy dynamic, right? So for me, growing up blue pilled and always wanting love, I think I wanted a relationship when I was in my teens, man. And I'm talking to this girl, and it's like, she's such a nice girl, and I know that's what it is. She's just too nice. But even then, it's like, for a girl, it's still strange because girls have so much capital in the sexual and dating market that it's hard for me to believe that she could be as old as she is and still and really she has a good heart, and that's rare. And I told her that too. I was talking to her and she was telling me that she had feelings for me, and I said, you have a really good heart, and that's rare. I don't meet a lot of girls who have good hearts. And it's true, I really, 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 really do not. I do not, ever. And it's sad because it's like, okay, well, this girl actually has a good heart. And she actually likes me. But I just don't have those same kind of feelings for her. We just had a fling thing. We were just dating a little bit. And I just don't reciprocate those feelings. It's not that she's not attractive. It's not that she's not good enough. She's got a good job. She's a quality woman as far as, which is rare in and of itself. I mean, you guys listen to my channel, you know how much I disdain these low quality women, and they're everywhere. So it's like, finally, when I meet a decent quality woman, and believe me, she's not the most quality woman. Like, she's got faults. Like, first of all, a red flag is she's sleeping with me. So she's definitely sleeping around. And I told her that too. I said, I don't know why you claim you want a guy, but you're sleeping around. And it's like, I don't know, looking at it from the converse perspective, women want sex too. They have sex too. But they also want love, and maybe they have the same problem. Maybe they can't find the right guy. Maybe. But then, what I actually see is I see a lot of girls riding the cock carousel, having no plans to settle down. I mean, they say they do, blah, blah. But then they go and chase bad boys, and their female nature is fucked up, right? And she's probably no exception. I mean, she was hurt by a guy, and I imagine he was a bad boy, blah, blah, blah. And so their whole choosing process is fucked up. So if they're not choosing guys based on, the fact that he's a bad boy alpha type, and they want to have sex with him, mate with him, right? This is that biological drive. If that's not the case, then they're choosing guys. Then they jump all the way to the opposite spectrum, right? That pendulum swings all the way to the opposite side, and they're choosing guys for money. So it's like there's no in between. It's like, maybe you could just find a guy who's got a little sprinkles of all that, like, okay, he doesn't have to be a complete bum, but maybe he's not a CEO or a famous sports player or something. Maybe he's just a regular dude, right? And maybe he's not the most bad boy alpha Chad. Maybe he's just, he hits the gym sometimes and he's pretty steady. Like, oh, but that's too boring, right? That's too vanilla. He's got to be all the way one way or all the way the other way. And it's like, I don't think these women have adapted yet. And the irony is they end up settling for somebody who just is kind of like not even all of that. Like he's just usually a beta guy, right? They just end up saying, it's like they they chase the bad boys, and then and they know they can't get the super rich guy. They know they can't get the guy with the great lifestyle. Or they know because they're not. Most of them aren't hot enough, right? And oftentimes the guy with the great lifestyle, he's just a playboy. He's just a player because he knows what women want. He knows they want that lifestyle, so he's just playing. He's like, oh, I'll dangle that carrot in front of your face. Look at my Porsche. Look at my nice house. Woo, come on a date with me. And then he bangs them and never calls them again. And they experience that a few times, and they're like, okay, well, I guess I can't get that guy, so I'll just settle for the steady guy. And it's always settling, because by the time they get to that point, they don't realize, and the parents aren't teaching them. The parents aren't like, hey, don't go sleep around. It's gonna mess up your ability to pair bond. Hey, don't go, don't chase the bad boy. Try to find a decent guy for love. How many parents are actually teaching their children? Find a guy for love, not for security, not for the money, not because he cites you and gets you horny because he's a bad boy. For love. How many parents are saying that? And this girl's, she's obviously, I messed around with her, so she's not, she's not goody two shoes, traditional Christian, woman, right? She's your average, carousel rider. But I've seen pictures of her growing up, and she was the sweetest looking girl, and she's got a good heart. I just don't like her personality. Is not really what I'm attracted to. Okay, it's not that there's anything wrong with her necessarily. Of course, her sleeping around with me, and that's a red flag. I felt like that's a red flag to me. And it always turns me off when I'm, talking to a girl and she's so easy to jump into bed. That's always a turnoff. But they all do it, and why do they all do it? Well, one, because they like sex. Two, because oftentimes they're trying to use sex to keep the man around. Okay, and three, they like sex. They're all out there having sex. Period. The end. End of story. Their parents aren't saying, hey, don't go do this. It's gonna fuck you up. It's gonna mess your life up. It's gonna it's hard. It's different for women to have random sex because women are emotionally attached to sex. They're emotionally attached to sex. So whenever they have sex with a guy, they need to have that emotional investment. And it's like, this is basics. This is what parents need. This is what society, this is what we need to teach these women so they stop making this mistake. This girl's in her 30s and she's sad and she's a little bit overweight because she's depressed all the time. And it's like, I know this girl has a good heart. And that's rare for me. It's rare for me to meet a girl with a good heart. They're mostly all jaded, super selfish. Most of them are narcissistic megalomaniacs, borderline sociopathic. They gaslight everyone they meet. They're extreme liars. Most of these girls that I meet in the dating scene, right? So I finally meet one, and it's like, yeah, but she just doesn't have the right personality. So it's like there's so many levels to what really is love. And it's like, yeah, I can be intimate with her, I can show affection, I can receive her affection, but I just don't love her. I don't have that love. But for a guy, see, for me, it's like I don't have a choice. Like I can't just go out and like, okay, well, I'm really looking for love. No, it doesn't work like that, because I got to check off all these boxes. I got to be tall, I got to be good looking, I got to have money, I got to have status, I got to have a steady job, I got to have an income. See, and that's where I got jaded, right? Where a lot of times where women get jaded is they're like, oh, guys only want sex. Well, where guys get jaded is we realize women only want our money. If we don't have money, they're going to leave us. If we don't have money, they're going to hit the road. And that's what happened with me with my last girlfriend. Is that, I loved her, and she was there for me, or she was there, and it was like the personality was there, the character was there, but she was slutty. And so, what happens? I don't know. I can't deal with that. I can't abide by that. I don't know if it's a big red flag. And then, a couple years later, we were still dating, but then all of a sudden she says, oh, I want love, woo woo. And then I let her go, And then I come back and try to get her, and she's already with another guy. She'd already moved on. In fact, I believe she was already texting the other guy. I believe she was already talking to the other guy. She basically monkey branched. So all these things that we talk about in Red Pill all of a sudden happen with her, because that's how women are. So, you learn the hard way, and you're like, well, finally I found one that I love. I found one that has a good disposition. I want to be with this girl, but she's hypergamous. She's already monkey branched onto the next guy, and this guy's got a house. I don't have a house, right? And then she breaks up with him, and I still try to get her back, and she doesn't come back. And then she's with another guy, and he's got a house, and then she moves in with this guy. And then she comes back to me, and she's like, oh, I want a kid, because this guy can't have a kid. And so it's like all these negative red flags that we see. Unfortunately, all these things are true. All these red flags, they're all true. So what could we do? By the time we finally meet someone who has a good heart, she's jaded and messed up.